get. And we underestimated all those folks in the back, sort of out the side. If you want to move over to the side, you'll have a better view, I think. So move to wherever you need to go to be able to hear and see. I thank you all so much for coming. The support that is shown here is just overwhelming. But this is a beautiful day for our staff and our elders, because today is the day that we officially begin our transformation of how long-term care is provided to our elders. On the 15 acres behind me, you will soon see 2 houses where 20 of our elders will live and grow and flourish. In these new environments, our elders will find a self-determination and freedom of choice that is difficult to allow in an institution. Our staff, too, will experience an increased sense of purpose and self-worth as they support the elder in their new freedom. We are not building institutions here. We're building homes for elders. Oh, and by the way, we will be providing skilled nursing care there, too. You may be curious about the greenhouse movement. That's greenhouse, 2 words, green, capital G, house, capital H. The founder of the greenhouse concept is a physician from upstate New York who observed that too many of the traditional nursing homes were sterile and cold places where loneliness, helplessness, and boredom plagued the residents who lived there. And for that, they wanted a magic pill, but he had none. Dr. Bill Thomas dreamed of a better way of providing care for elders, a place where the older adults' physical needs would be tenderly cared for in an environment where they were loved, respected, given control, and encouraged to grow. Yes, grow. He dreamed of a place that no one would ever say, "I'd rather die than live there." How many of you have said that? I hope I die before I have to move to a nursing home. We've got to change that. In 2005, the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation caught Dr. Thomas's vision and committed $10 million for the rapid replication of greenhouse homes across America. An organization called NCB Capital Impact out of Washington, D.C., took on the task of managing the Greenhouse Project Initiative. There are now 240 greenhouse homes in 29 states. Bluffton will have the first greenhouse homes in Ohio. To be sure, the concept is unique and often counterintuitive until you look at it through the eyes of an elder and those who love them. Then you know it's the right thing to do. Mennonite Home Communities has certainly been on a long journey to get to this place today. Back in about 2002, we started dreaming about a better environment for our residents. Mike Healy, architect, came into our lives at that time. Mike has the skill of listening for the heart and seeing the vision of the customer. That's an invaluable attribute for an architect. Mike wasn't part of PH7 Architects at the time, but he was our guy. He was helping us design what we wanted, a resident-friendly, brand-new institution. I even still have the picture if you want to see it. Then Lynn Thompson, our CEO at the time, cast a new vision. He started to read about the greenhouse model of care. He took a group of us to Tupelo, Mississippi in April of 2004 to see the first greenhouse homes in America. We walked into those homes and we knew immediately it was the right thing to do. We came back convinced, shared what we learned with the Board of Trustees. The board agreed. We scrapped our plan for that brand new institution. Mike Healy listened and started helping us design homes for elders, not institutions. He eventually went into business on his own and his great partners, and they are now PH7 Architects of Columbus. They've been the perfect balance for us over all these years. They're here celebrating with us just as much as we are. Mike Healy, Dan Party, David Honing, please stand. Give a wave to the crowd. We thank you for staying the course with us over these last 7 years. Our Board of Trustees, I should have told you this is an interactive presentation. Our Board of Trustees, driven by their desire to do better for our elders, have also persevered. Many are here today helping, and I would like anyone who is a current board member or who has been a board member since 2004, stand up, wave your hand, holler, something. I want to recognize those of you. Stand, please. Don't be shy. This is not a day to be shy. Thank you. This is a dedicated group of volunteers who have the same passion as the staff for respectful, quality living for our residents. Dr. Howard Shelley, our board president, will go down in history as the president with unwavering focus. He would put both hands on the table, and I knew what was coming. People, we've been talking about this for years. Are we going to do it or not? And yes, Dr. Shelley, we're going to do it. In the past 3 weeks, we've added new partners to our growing village of people who have joined us on this journey. I'm happy to announce that our general contractors are the Garlock Brothers Construction out of Findlay. Todd Garlock, Mike Garlock, Jamie Inslee. Welcome to the family. I also know that we have some of our subcontractors here who are going to help with this, and please wave your hands right now. Those of you who know you're going to be participating. Rob, Don, anybody else? There's a lot of people that are going to make this happen. That's what's happening across the road. Let's not forget, though, that after we have these 2 houses built and 20 of our 92 residents have moved into their new digs, we'll have another opportunity. At Mennonite Memorial Home, we'll renovate to create a state-of-the-art rehab center for our community. We've always offered rehab, but we've been short on private rooms. This renovation will enable us to better meet the needs of the individual who is impatient to get well and get moving. And we are grateful for our longstanding partnership with Northwest PT of Ottawa. Todd, stand. Our next speaker is Dr. Howard Shelley. If you want to come on up. He served on the Board of Trustees for 5 years and as board president for 2. And before that, he served our residents as their family physician for many, many years.
What do I have, 3 minutes? Well, hallelujah, hallelujah. I can't even say it. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. We've been a long time in planning this. When I first came on the board 5 years ago, I very early heard about greenhouses. And we finally progressed to the place where we can say, hallelujah, we're ready to start. We've finally got all of our waterfowl in alignment, and we're going to go after it. Nursing home care has been a major part of family practice ever since I came to Bluffton. In 1957, when Dr. Rodabaugh, who if you'd be texting about him, you would put HGD after his name. Anyone know what that is? That means hell of a good doctor. But he took me on a tour of Mennonite home. And now the astounding thing to me is that I occasionally hear people murmuring about wanting to tear part of it down and build something different. The other nursing homes in the area that have come and gone, and most of them are still coming, Richland Manor. When they started, you could still drive down 75 and get off the highway and go in the front door. Then they had the Beaver Dam Nursing Home, which has passed into non-existence. Hilty Home came along and is progressing. Arlington, Good Sam. Marlesta, Springview and Lima Manor, Putnam Acres, Lost Creek. Those are all nursing homes that I had the privilege of taking care of people in. Trends in medical care have changed. When I started medical school back in 1952, I worked at Cook County Hospital, where they had wards that held 30 people. Uh, Now, I don't know if there are many places like that anymore, but the tendency now is to have hospitals that have nothing but private rooms. When we made our first addition to Bluffton Hospital, we felt pretty modern, and we had some members of the board then that thought we put too many bathrooms in there. The plan was to have one bathroom for four patients. And I still remember one board member complaining because we were putting too many bathrooms in there. Certainly, the people could get into the hall and go down the hall, and they could serve 20 people with one bathroom. The tendency now is to have a private room with a private bathroom for everyone. Uh, so, this is what is happening with nursing home care. One of the biggest disappointments that I had when taking care of people, certainly you have some patients in nursing homes that, that, as I would say, you could go in and visit because they knew what was going on. But unfortunately, many of these people had a new roommate every month or two, which would then pass on into eternity. I would often get after the nursing staff, wanting them to do a better job of picking roommates. Well, that was an impossibility. I think we all have to try to remember what we actually are trying to do here. I couldn't find it on the icon, but I found it in the Bluffton News, and everyone can read this. And I want to read it to you, and we want to really pay attention to what it says. A greenhouse is a skilled nursing care home. There will be skilled nursing care where 10 elders enjoy private bedrooms and share community space. Elders who transition from traditional nursing care to greenhouse living have shown improvement in overall well-being, greater social interaction, increased mobility, lessened depression, and increased appetite for a few of the improvements replicated again and again. Marked by individual choice an engaging lifestyle, greenhouse living provides many opportunities of experience life at home. In the greenhouse, each elder has more freedom to choose meals, schedules, and activities that enhance purposeful living. This has been a long tour, and every time you thought you had made it a little bit, then there was more red tape. It is. It's not green tape. It's red tape that would come up, and the people in the leadership in the home have been good at getting this all done. There have been temptations that have come along to, as I felt, try to sidetrack us, such as what everyone probably knows about the opportunity that may be presenting itself to unite with Hilty Home. Ada would like to develop some senior living stuff. And there are always temptations coming up to buy adjacent property, which we may be happy that we have in the future. So they are still viable temptations, but we have to resist. But now, as I say, we have finally gotten our waterfowl in alignment, and we'll get on with it. Now, if we can only get Mother Nature to cooperate. So all I have to say is hallelujah.
One of our guiding values is relationship through community. And it reads like this: We are dedicated to nurturing the sense of family that flourishes among our staff, residents, clients, and volunteers. We value the support of our churches and community. These foundational relationships are a sacred trust, and we are devoted to preserving that trust in everything we do. Mennonite Home Communities is privileged to be nestled in the town of Bluffton. The support we receive from this community can be seen here today and is amazing. It's what makes us a great place to live the whole way around, and we do not take that support for granted. We are extremely pleased that the bonds for this project are being issued through the Village of Bluffton and financed by Citizens National Bank. How great is that to be able to work locally? Steve Ritter, are you here? I've seen you. Where are you? Clear in the back. Steve Ritter, Citizens National Bank. If you're on the village, yes, please. If you're on the Village Council or the Planning Commission or Jamie Mahaffey, raise your hand because you all have also been helping us make this happen. Mitch Kingsley, our attorney, has been staying up late at night reading bond papers. The Village of Bluffton, your commitment to our success shows, and it makes a difference, and we thank you for that. Our next speaker, Fred Rodabaugh, is our mayor. But he has other connections with Mennonite Home Communities, too. His father is that HGD that Dr. Shelley just mentioned, and his mother enjoyed living on our campuses for 15 years. Fred.
Hang on to this stuff tight so it don't blow away. I don't know whether Lynn Thompson was a sounding board for my mother or my mother was a sounding board for Lynn Thompson. Maybe it was mutual, but anyway, from the very beginning of this greenhouse concept, I began to hear a lot about it, and I'm sure she wishes she could, we all wish she could be here to celebrate this day with us, but that wasn't to be, but I know she's looking down and approving of this, because she sure wanted to see it happen. I have a proclamation from the village out of my office. Whereas Mennonite Home Communities is dedicated to being a Christ-centered community that promotes personal decision-making and purposeful living for each older adult served. And whereas Mennonite Home Communities of Ohio has been providing innovative care, excellent services, and comprehensive resources for older adults since 1955. And whereas Mennonite Home Communities serves more than 450 elders annually at the Mennonite Memorial Home, Maple Crest campuses, and their own homes through Mennonite Home Health and Senior Services. And whereas the commitment by the staff and volunteers of Mennonite Home Communities creates a loving atmosphere where elders thrive. And whereas the Board of Trustees is committed to responding to the changing needs and expectations of older adults in order to continue providing excellent care, and whereas the 2 greenhouse homes being constructed on the Willow Ridge campus and the private short-term rehabilitation unit being developed at the Mennonite Memorial Home will transform elder living in our community. And whereas Mennonite Home Communities is to be commended for over 55 years of excellent service, resulting in significant contributions to the cultural and economic well-being of the Village of Bluffton and the surrounding communities. Now, therefore, I, Frederick D. Rodabaugh, Mayor of the Village of Bluffton, do hereby proclaim October 14th, 2011, as the official start of the transformation taking place at Mennonite Home Communities of Ohio through the construction of greenhouse homes, which are made possible by the generosity of many individuals, families, businesses, churches, and organizations from this community and beyond. I want to congratulate you on getting to this position. We're all looking forward to it. It's like a lot of things you wonder if they're ever going to take place. I do have a gold one here I'm going to give you the whole folder because it may stay here instead of blowing across the countryside. There you go. Good luck and congratulations.
Thank you. We've also received well wishes today from the Office of Governor John Kasich. Thank you, Fred. Another of our guiding values is compassionate care, and it reads like this: we seek to honor God as we demonstrate a Christ-like love and compassion for all touched by our ministry of continuing care. Each individual member of our family is unique, worthy of respect and gentle consideration. Mennonite Memorial Home, Maple Crest, Mennonite Home Health and Senior Services, we are blessed with a truly remarkable group of employees whose heart and soul go into their work. Our staff are why we don't really fit that nursing home stereotype of cold and sterile that Dr. Thomas worried about. Our employees have also stayed the course and not lost the dream of a better environment for our elders. So if you are here, you are an employee now, or you've been an employee since 2004, raise your hand, holler, do something so that we can see who the employees of MHCO is. This is a day of celebration for us. Our next speaker is Peg Souter. Peg has been a caregiver at Mennonite Home for 14 years. She represents all the great staff of MHCO who love the older adult and see their work as mission. The role of the caregiver is to protect, sustain, and nurture the elder. They are habilitators, one who draws out the strength of another. Peg is one of those great caregivers. She's going to tell us today why this project matters to her.
Thank you, Laura. Next year at this time, I hope I'm actually a Shabazz over there at Willow Ridge. And I know over the last few years I've said more than once to Laura Voth, I really hope I get the chance to work there before it's time for me to move in. So I'm really happy about this. I use the term Shabazz, which was the name given to those of us who will work in the Greenhouse Project as nursing assistants. It was a name given by Dr. Bill Thomas, who's the greenhouse in charge of the Greenhouse Project. It's a Persian word. It means loyal falcon. And it comes from a story, an ancient story about a falcon named Shabazz who aids a king in his journey through life. And this is Dr. Thomas's explanation. The bird protects, sustains, and nurtures the elder, even as the elder brings forth from the falcon new strength, new powers, and new capacities. So not only does a Shabazz in the greenhouse setting protect, sustain, and nurture elders as individuals, they also cooperate with elders to create a new society-wide understanding of elderhood. And as Dr. Thomas says, the elder and Shabazz go together like a wink and a smile. I was fortunate enough to meet Dr. Bill Thomas 4 years ago when I went to the first annual Greenhouse Conference in St. Louis. The first exercise he had us do, we were to go up and introduce ourselves to someone we've never met before. So me, not being the shy person that I am, I saw him up at the podium and thought, why not? So I made a beeline for Dr. Thomas and introduced myself and talked to him for a few minutes. And then just last month, I was invited to go to the 4th Annual Greenhouse Conference in Birmingham. And I saw him standing in the hallway and thought, why not? But this time I had a reason why, because I wanted to thank him for doing something that finally makes sense to me. Now, like Laura said, I've worked at the Mennonite Home for almost 14 years, and it's a great place to work, and we are really focused on person-centered care there, but it is still a nursing home. And it never made sense to me why elders would come one day, they're in their own home, doing their own thing, and all of a sudden they're in a nursing home, and we're telling them, oh, it's time for breakfast, or you want to wear this today, or we have bingo, let's go to bingo, when, it should be their choice. So I thanked him for doing something that really made sense to me. And I want to thank everyone who worked so hard on this project and stuck to it all these years when I know it would have been just as easy to give up. But like Laura said, it is the right thing to do. And one of the reasons why I'm so looking forward to working there is I did get a chance to talk to the Shabazim, which is the plural of Shabazz, when I went to St. Louis. And they all told us collectively as a group that the first 2 weeks was very difficult. Some of them even said they went home crying. But after 2 weeks, when they got the routine down, Not a single one of them in that room would ever go back to a nursing home setting. So that has been one of my focuses. I thought, well, this has got to be a good thing. And the last thing I want to talk about is I've met a lot of wonderful people over at the Mennonite home and helped them. And one of the ones, there's always a few that just stand out. And one of the ones that really stands out in my mind, to me, was a wonderful, wonderful lady, and I have her son's permission to use her name, was Margaret Steiner. I loved Margaret Steiner. And she was a very intelligent woman. And she did a lot of thinking. And there are, those of you who don't know, she was one of the first nurses at the Mennonite home. And there are still people who work over there that worked with her and say she was a joy to work with. I never had that opportunity, but I did get to know her when I would assist her in the morning with getting dressed. And one day I walked in and she was sitting on the side of her bed, and I said, "Margaret, are you ready to get dressed today?" And she said, "Yeah." And she looked at me and she said, "Honey, what did you think about this morning on your way to work? Did you think about the chores you had to do when you went home today? Maybe what you were going to make for supper tonight?" And I thought about it a minute, and I said, "Well, I probably did. I don't really remember, but..." And she looked at me and she says, "Honey, do you know what I thought about this morning?" She said, "Nothing. I have nothing to think about here. My day is planned for me every day. I have nothing to think about." And that got to me. I actually had to step out of the room because I thought I was going to start crying in the room, because the thought of not having anything to think about, I can't fathom that. That's just too difficult. So for everybody who's worked so hard, I'm thanking you from me and Margaret Steiner for giving the elders a place to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Peg. Next on our agenda is Rhody Hartman. Rhody is a strong and wise woman, a role model for me. She and her husband, Ken, were early supporters of this project. Rhody's lived on our campus for over 5 years, along with her husband, who passed away about 10 months ago.
It's a joy to be with you today, and it's quite an exciting time. As supporters of the Greenhouse Project of Mennonite home communities, we are asking God to bless this ground and this people who desire to be living in His will. It is with eager anticipation that we all look forward to the actual groundbreaking and construction of the facility. The planning for the project has been laborious and time-consuming. However, all good things are accomplished when due process is used to make sure all is proper. For those who will be living in the greenhouse cottages, it will be a different transition than into a nursing facility, such as Mennonite Memorial Home is now. A room of my own is a desire of each one coming to live here, rather than to be placed in a room with a stranger. Sooner or later, we will all arrive at a time when we realize we cannot care for ourselves in our home. The vision and insight of the people who have provided Mennonite Memorial Home, Maple Crest, and home health facilities has done much to make a better life for our elders. As we continue in that pursuit, may we daily seek the Lord's guidance. Thank you.
Next up is Doug Luganbill. He officially came to work for Mennonite Home Communities about 2 years ago as our Director of Resource Development and Church Relations, but he also served our elders through his previous work when he visited as their pastor. His mother was also a recipient of our service. Doug's been leading the capital campaign, A New Vision, Transforming Elder Living, and he deserves a lot of the credit, most of it, for planning today's event. Doug.
Thank you. Thank you. Those two words sometimes get lost. Sometimes we don't hear them, sometimes we forget to say them. But they are words that I hear often at Mennonite home communities. Thank you for visiting is expressed as a pastor, a friend, or a family member rises to return to their home. Thank you for your care is spoken to a nurse or caregiver following assistance of a daily activity. Thank you for the meal rings often from the dining rooms. Thanks for asking me to help is spoken after our elders assist with a mailing or help decorate or display their artwork in the hallway gallery. It's a joy to be part of a grateful community of elders and staff who learn from one another and help each other. Thank you are words that I also get to speak on a regular basis as I visit, as I share the Mennonite home vision with folks and around town and in the surrounding communities. I get to say thank you because the community has been generous to the elders of Mennonite Home. We would not be celebrating today but for the support of churches, the board of directors, the campaign cabinet, staff of Mennonite Home communities, businesses, individuals, and organizations who have given generously to the New Vision Transforming Elder Living campaign. And so once again, I say thank you to all of you for making this day possible. An ambitious goal of $2.1 million was set for the campaign. Ambitious because it is by far the largest campaign Mennonite Home has ever undertaken. Ambitious because of the economic climate that's existed over the past several years. And ambitious because there are so many excellent institutions and services in Bluffton to support. With the wise and patient counsel of Becky Drum, Advancement Associates, Becky, wave your hand there, and the leadership of the campaign cabinet, we have come to this day. And I want to recognize the cabinet members who are serving currently or have served in the past. And if you are here, again, raise your hand or stand. Linda Suter, our honorary chairperson. Marilyn Bishop, Beth Baer, Stan Clemens, Krista Lehman, Elfrida Ramsire, Lois Rodabaugh, Mike Romey, Tom Schumacher, Dr. Howard Shelley, Barb Stetler, Julie Stratton, Lynn Thompson, Laura Voth, Becky Drum, and myself. Once again, the community has come together to support an innovative and progressive project. And the 2 greenhouse homes that will be constructed on the property behind me, as well as the 10 private short-term rehab rooms that will be established at Mennonite Memorial Home, will brighten the lives of our elders for many years to come. Speaking of brightening lives, I want to tell you about one of the gifts of grace that has made this project possible. For several years, our elders at Mennonite Home were the beneficiaries of a $1,000 gift shortly before Christmas with the simple instruction, do something to make the elders' lives brighter. So on Christmas morning, each elder received a rose as a gift. In 2009, the annual $1,000 gift came to an end. Frida Basinger, whose roots were firmly in Bluffton soil but who had lived away from Bluffton most of her adult life, passed away. But she and her late husband, James, had not forgotten the Bluffton community. They had established a trust in which they named Bluffton University and Mennonite Home communities as beneficiaries. Over the past 2 years, we have received more than $500,000 from this trust. James and Frida's spirit of generosity, foresight, and gift of grace is present today as they continue to make the lives of our elders and of each of us brighter. One of the greenhouse homes built will bear the spirit and the grace of James and Frida Basinger in its name. While the other home will not bear the name of an individual donor, it will certainly bear the generous spirit of the many other contributors to this campaign, many of them who chose to give anonymously, and many who are in this crowd today. But whether contributors gave $100,000 or $1, every gift has been important in bringing us to this point. And every donor here today should feel just a bit of pride, even if that isn't your nature. You should feel a bit of pride that this day has come, knowing that you helped make this happen. Together, designations, pledges, and gifts total over $1,693,000, or 81% of our goal. Thank you. Each of you received a brochure describing the campaign, and perhaps you know someone who would be interested in learning more about the project. I encourage you to share that with them, and there are more of them inside Maple Crest. Every season of life has its gifts and opportunities to live with purpose and generosity. A hymn that speaks poetically about the value of each season of life is Lord of Our Growing Years. And I invite the ensemble to come forward now as we sing this song.